close anymore. So she feels like, you know, nobody wants to be her friend because she feels she's more popular.
Okay,
so
but
I took her out and started doing homeschool.
Okay, did you fill out the homeschool paperwork with the district though? Because if you don't declare, okay, so then truancy.
New Jersey, you can't do homeschool with New Jersey public schools. So they tell you to go on your own with a online homeschool program.
Okay, so your daughter is on an online homeschool program.
Right.
Okay, but is she completing the work?
She has, but I'm regretting it because now she just wants to stay in the house. She just want to be on the phone. She just want to.
I think this is a discipline issue, Mama. I think you letting that girl do too much of what she want to do, and we can't do that in the 4th grade. I think she's doing too much of what she want to do. You're gonna have to put some discipline in place.
Right. That's
I would get a calendar. I would get a calendar and 2 different color markers, one for school, one for home. And at the end of the school day, we review how she did. She get a smiley face or a sad face in pink. And at the end of the day, at bedtime, we review how she did, and she get a smiley face or a sad face in green. And you tell her, listen, for you to have a good week, I need 4 good days out of 7. And if there's 4 good days out of 7, you and mommy will do something together outside the house fun. Stay away from money. Stay away from expensive gifts. Never reward a child with money. Never reward a child with expensive gifts. And then you got to have punishments. When she doesn't have a good day, there must be a punishment that day, whether it's early bed, loss of privilege, loss of whatever she's into. It has to be that day. Punishments and rewards is how you're going to change your daughter's behavior. We cannot let her do what she wants because she's not having a good day. Her friend moved away. If that's the case, get her some counseling. You know, Google Black counselors in your area. But she in 4th grade, she cannot be doing what she want to do. This ain't it.
She's very defiant. That's
well, she's only as defiant as you allow her to be. She's only as defiant as you allow her to be. Where's the biological father?
He's not around.
He's not around. She's only as defiant as you allow her to be, Queen. I don't like the way this look. Because if she's doing what she want to do in 4th grade, by the time she's in 8th grade, she might not even be going to school no more.
Exactly.
This on you. You got to lock it down. Is she the only child?
No, she has an older sister.
How old is the sister?
She's 25.
Okay. Is she helping you or what?
She tries to, but they're always getting into it. So,
is she depressed? Your daughter, your young daughter?
That's what it seemed like.
Get her a therapist. It might be depression. You still got to hold her accountable, though. Just because you depressed don't mean you don't get discipline. You still get the discipline. But I would get her a counselor, and I would create a behavior plan in that house.
Right.
And I would get her ready to go back to school next year. See, we got to be careful with that homeschooling. It can breed laziness and complacency.
Yes.
Homeschooling can definitely breed laziness and complacency.
Go back to school next year.
Yeah, get her a therapist, and you got to get strict with the discipline program.
Right. Exactly. Thank you.
No problem, Queen. Keep me posted.
Okay.
All right.
Hello.
Sister Patrice, how you doing, gorgeous?
Fine, how are you?
I'm doing okay. My apologies. When I saw Patrice, I thought you was an old friend of mine in Detroit by the name of Patrice. And I was seeing if that was her calling in trying to be funny. But
no, Patrice White.
Okay, I got you. Nah, totally different voice. Go right ahead with your question, beautiful. By the way, I'll be speaking in Lansing Saturday and Kalamazoo on Sunday. Yes, ma'am.
I'll be there in Lansing to see you.
Appreciate that. Go right ahead with your question.
My question is, do you have any attorneys that's willing to assist parents with IEP issues? That's what I like.
I don't know of any Black educational attorneys at all, which is one of the reasons why I'm considering taking the LSAT this coming spring. I'm thinking about going back to law school with the little bit of time I got. Even though I'm working on FDMG, I'm really thinking about going to law school. Something just came across my email the other day. Mm-hmm. I might got to get into law school so I can actually go with y'all into the courtroom to fight some of these cases.
Right, but I think you really have a lot of cases, and a lot of parents are really scared to come forward to first trying to find attorneys because there's no attorneys that's willing to help us at all.
Yeah, you got a few white ones, but it's only a few, and some of them will scam you behind your back and make a deal with the district. But the good news is you can fight most IEP issues on your own without a lawyer. Most IEP issues you can fight on your own without a lawyer. So what's the issue you're having?
Well, with my niece, my sister died 8 years ago, and we're taking care of her daughter. Her daughter's been deprived first. In elementary part, she was deprived with sitting in the classroom all day, one class, and not being mainstream to other classes. She was just sitting in one class all day. And it was not teaching her anything.
What grade is she in?
Well, now she's 16.
What grade is she in now?
She's in 10th grade.
Is she doing well now, or she still got problems from all that?
She still has problems from the previous school district, which was West Bloomfield, Michigan School.
Okay, what is her disability?
Far as a learning disability, she has just learning problems. No behavior, just learning.
Okay, in which areas?
Reading and math, English, all of them.
Okay, it shouldn't be all of them because no child is disabled in everything. But let me ask you this. When is the last time she was evaluated? You got to get reevaluated every 3 years. Do we know what grade she went into special ed initially?
It was kindergarten.
She went into special ed in kindergarten?
Yes.
For what?
What they did was the first year when she went to preschool, they put her in kindergarten. Then they held her back and put her back in preschool, and she's been held back ever since. And she's trying to really catch up because she has not caught up yet.
How many of the evaluations that she has do you have a copy of? You get reevaluated every 3 years. So if she was put in special ed in kindergarten, that means she was reevaluated in the 3rd, reevaluated in the 6th, reevaluated in the 9th. So there should be 4 evaluations. Do you have those?
I have most of her paperwork. Like I said, because we took over the case with my sister passing. Like that was back in 2015 when my sister did pass. But we did get a lot of the paperwork. We do have quite a bit of it. Yes.
Okay, so this is what I don't. All I need is the evals. I don't need anything else. So I need you to find those 4 evaluations that were done on her. Once you get those 4 evaluations, we can schedule a consultation because I can go through them and kind of recreate the timeline of what happened. And she should have had another one. You said she's in the 11th now?
She's in 10th grade.
She's in the 10th. So she should have had another reeval last year. Did she get that reeval last year?
No, she did not.
Which means they broke the law right there. I need you to get them evals together and email them over. Let me give you my email address.
Okay, let me write this down. Hold on one second. My email address right ahead.
DRUMARJOHNSON at yahoo.com.
At yahoo.com.
Yeah, get those digitized, scanned in. You can do that at, anywhere. Kinko's, Office Max, scan them in and email them to me. And I charge $75 if we do the consult by phone or $100 if we want to do FaceTime or Zoom.
Okay, either one be fine.
Okay, so let me know. Once you had it, just once you email it, text me, Queen, and let me know you sent them, and we'll set it up.
I sure will.
All right, Queen. I appreciate it.
I'll see you Saturday in Lansing.
Yes, ma'am.
Take care.
All right now. God bless.
God bless you.
I need y'all to stop with this kindergarten special ed stuff. How many times I got to tell you, what's with this kindergarten first grade special ed? What is with this kindergarten first grade special ed stuff? What is with this kindergarten first grade IEP? What are y'all doing? They haven't even been taught. They haven't even been given a chance. They just got to school and y'all... Woo!
Hello.
Good afternoon, Sister Brianna. How's Baton Rouge, Louisiana treating you?
Oh man, it could be treating me better, Dr. Umar, if we had maybe some guidance like yours. But I will say that this is a city that I feel like I cannot give up on. So I'm reaching out to you to see what advice you might have.
Well, number one, is Southern in Baton Rouge?
Southern University is based in Baton Rouge, yes, sir.
Okay, I've spoken in Baton Rouge one time in my life, only once. It was at Southern University. And if I'm not, it wasn't for Southern though. They didn't invite me. It was a community event that was held at Southern. And I want to say this happened in 2011 or 2012.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
So it's been about 13 years since I've been there. 13, 14. So I need you to get in touch with me after this call. I want to come to Baton Rouge. I need you to find me a place. Find one of them black churches. Find one of them black churches and ask them if they'll donate space for you to hold a free community event so Dr. Umar can come do a teach-in for black parents.
Absolutely. I would be obliged to help Dr. Umar. We need you down here so badly.
And I might be applying to Southern University Law School too after I take this LSAT. I might be applying to Southern Law School.
Yes, it's notorious. I will say that they have an amazing law school. We would love to have you, Dr. Umar. My question, I do want to be transparent. I am not an educator. My aunt is an educator, a special ed educator, and she has been just sharing with me her grievances of trying to educate these children who clearly have no support at home. And so I just was wondering if maybe you might have some advice for a special ed instructor who is almost, giving up on her passion for education because of the lack of support.
If she needs to take a break, she can take a break. I don't care if it's 6 months. I don't care if it's a whole school year. I don't care if it's 2 school years, but she can't quit because the children need her.
They need her so badly.
They need her. She can't quit. Now, she might need to go to a new district. She might need to go to a new school. Now, if she's being taken advantage of and abused, then she might need to go to another school. But
and so that is her plan. She says that she's right now she's preparing to go ahead and just leave and just find something else to kind of support her until I guess retirement. Those are her plans. But I just would hate to see her give up like that. And then I'm like, is that going to be the consensus across the board? Are we going to lose all of our educators?
Yes, we're losing a lot of them through racism, systemic. And we're losing a lot of them through burnout. There was an article I read 2 years ago that said for the first time in about 40 or 50 years, we now have what they call it. There's a scarcity of black female teachers. We haven't had a black female teacher shortage in a very long time. Now we have a shortage of black female teachers because, number one, they're deliberately failing our young teachers when they take the praxis examination. They're deliberately failing them to make sure the teaching corps remains a white woman's thing. So they're deliberately failing them. We can't prove it, but I know it. They're deliberately failing them to keep them out of the class. And then you got the black teachers who do make it. They're being burnt out, mistreated, and overlooked. Everybody knows that the white women get all the jobs. They get all the promotions. They're the first ones to go downtown with no experience. And because black teachers have failed to organize themselves into their own teachers' union, I'm going to say that again. Black teachers have failed to organize themselves into their own teachers' union. We are content with being the afterthought of the American Federation of Teachers and the National Education Association. Just like black people are content to be in the afterthought of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, our teachers are content on being the afterthought of the AFT and NEA. And until we feel we have a right to be until we feel that we have a right to be the priority, we're going to keep on being overlooked.
So my advice that I could share with her is maybe to look into maybe organizing a black union for teachers. Absolutely. Okay.
That is the one thing that is so missing from two things missing from our history. A couple things missing from but two. One, organized black parents. We've never had a national black parent organization. I have one. But black parents are too lazy to get involved to fight. So that's the one thing. Black parents have never fought systemically against miseducation. Never.
Correct.
On a mass scale. And black teachers have never organized themselves for their own benefit on a mass scale in this country.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I am definitely going to share that with her. And I'm not in the education system. I actually work for a state agency, but it is definitely a passion of mine to eventually open a school of my own. Which is why I'm so inspired by you and FDMG. But I do want to maybe help be that kind of guidance for getting these teachers and these parents to stand up and fight for yourself. Baton Rouge is notorious for we're notorious for I know in the past we started we had a bus boycott of our own, is what I'm saying. We want to fight back, but I feel like we don't have the guidance or the leadership to fight back. It's like we have people who are willing to fight, they just don't know how to do the work. And so if I have to be that person or even help connect those dots and share that information, I will do so. And that's why I'm so excited that you are even interested in coming down here to speak again. I will be more than happy to organize something like that. Just because I think our people just need a little bit more guidance. We need a push. We need something down here because this city is so close to being swept away.
As soon as you get that location, you text me and say, Dr. Umar, I got us a spot. Give me a call.
I will do. Thank you so much.
No
Dr.
problem,
Umar.
Queen. Be blessed.
You too.
All right
Bye-bye.
now. We got to organize, brothers and sisters. We got to organize. You said, why was I grinning? Sharniqua. Sister Sharniqua, how's Greensboro, North Carolina treating you, Queen?
It's doing good. It was snowing earlier.
It was snowing in Greensboro?
Yes.
Get out of here.
5, 6 this morning, yeah.
Wow.
Me as well.
Go right ahead with your question, beautiful.
Okay. So, I have 4-year-old twins, and they are in the Head Start program. I have boy and girl. They are in the same class, and my son, we are having some behavior issues with him in class. He has moments where he doesn't want to participate in the things that they are doing in class. He goes off on his own and maybe plays or do anything that he whatever he wants to do. Sometimes he gets upset, stomps, and kicks and throws things. So they wanted to put him on a modified schedule where he would be in class from 9 to 12. But they end up going virtual, and then they just started back in person about a month ago. So he's back in class the full time, but we have started to do rotations, some of my family members and his father. When we are in the classroom with him, he's fine. But then when we leave the class with him, then his behavior starts to escalate, and they are having problems with redirecting him. So I'm trying to get some tips on how to help transition him and how to get his behavior in check and in line in school. And it's kind of frustrating because I'm a student as well, and his father is a truck driver. He works full time, and I also work part time. So I don't want to constantly get calls or have to leave school or clinicals or wherever to try and get his behavior in line. So I'm trying to find different ways to get everything in line so everything can run smoothly. I don't know if I'm explaining it to the best of my ability.
What grade is your son in?
My son is only 4. He's in Head Start. He's officially not in the school system.
And they're complaining about him in Head Start?
Yes.
These Head Start teachers, are they black or white?
Hispanic. He had...
Hispanic, they can be just as racist as white folks. So Hispanic, when teachers, when black mothers tell me they got a Hispanic teacher, they can be just as bad as white women because the racism against black people by a lot of Hispanics, not all, it's very intense. You know,
okay.
So why are they mostly Hispanic? You live in a Hispanic neighborhood?
No. The neighborhood I live in is predominantly black. The school, they have a mixed race of instructors, and the director, she's a white woman. He actually has two teachers. One was just Hispanic, and then he has another one, but she's from an island. I'm not sure which island she's from, but she is new. So she's been there for about maybe 2 or 3 weeks or so now.
What about his classmates? What's the racial breakdown of the kids in the class?
Most of them are African American.
Okay. You got a couple issues here. Number one, you need to start a discipline plan at home because you got to get his behavior under control. Nobody can get his behavior under control like you can. You know, if you heard me speak to the other parent earlier, I talked about the need for a calendar. to help him monitor his behavior, where you give him marks, punishments every day when there's a bad day, rewards at the end of the week. Rewards should take the form of activities with mom, things that y'all like to do. Don't use money and don't use expensive gifts. So you do have to have a behavior plan. Mothers tend to spoil your sons. Y'all absolutely do. And y'all have to do a better job with their discipline. Otherwise, we're setting them up to fail when they get out in the real world and got to deal with the white man. So that's number one. Number two, you need to put a little bit pressure on them to find out what is the classroom management system. What does the teacher do when he has a bad day? What does the teacher do when he has a good day? Is your son being rewarded when he does try? Because if they're only paying attention to your son when he misbehaves and they never pay attention to your son when he tries and does well, then he's being criminalized. And if your son is being criminalized by those Latino racists, you're going to have to pull him out the class because he will start to hate school because of the way he's being treated. So, do you think we've got to the point of criminalization or no?
No, I just think that they, sometimes I just feel like he don't think that he has to listen to them, because when I'm in the class with him, or his dad is in the class, or his grandmother's, or his aunt, because we've been rotating each day, there's no problem. There's no issue. But then once we leave and then we come back to pick him and his sister up, there's never an issue with my daughter in class. But once we come back to pick him up, oh, well, Keenan wasn't listening, or he got upset and threw a toy or something like that. But it doesn't happen when we're there.
Okay. Well, it may not happen when you guys are there, but it does happen. You know what else you might have to do? You might have to hire a behavioral specialist or a black psychologist.
He does have a behavior specialist that comes in with him on Tuesdays. I forgot to mention that. I do apologize. But yes, he does have a behavior specialist that comes in every Tuesday to help him, and she leaves a little note in his cubby so I can read over what they went through and what they were practicing. And she works with him inside and outside of the classroom, but it's only on Tuesdays. But
what good is the behavior specialist if the behavior specialist isn't helping the teacher address the behaviors? The behavior specialist should be helping the teacher address the behaviors. So you need to have a conversation with this behavior specialist, because I used to be a behavior specialist. So The purpose of the behavior specialist is to help the teacher get the child's behavior under control. So what good is the behavior specialist if he still got the same problems? The behavior specialist should be able to tell you and the teacher what needs to change in that class. Maybe he's sitting next to the wrong children. Maybe he's sitting in the wrong place. Maybe the whole class is out of control. Maybe the teacher is ignoring him when he does what he's supposed to do. The behavior specialist...
And my son is very, very smart. He knows his colors, his shapes. He already knows, like, if you ask him his age, where he lives, his name, he can answer these questions for you. And the director of the school, she was telling me this past week that they were going to try to incorporate some new activities to see if he has so much energy because maybe he's not getting, like, learning as much as, or maybe he's advanced. I'm not sure if that is it.
Well, I'm going to tell you like this. He could be advanced. It would not be a bad idea if you think the behavior is due to your son being academically advanced and not being challenged enough, which is a plausible reason. It is. Then you need to contact a psychologist and have your son tested for gifted. Just tell them you need a cognitive assessment, a cognitive IQ test. That's all you need. You don't need a full-blown battery, even though that would help too. It would help to do a private psychoeducational. You want a private psychoeducational. Make sure you tell him psychoeducational, not clinical. You don't think he's depressed or bipolar or none of that. You want to see if he's gifted for his age, gifted and talented. So you want a psychoeducational eval. That's going to be the IQ test, and that's going to be the reading, the writing, and the math to see if your son is above grade level. If he is, then you need to get to the school district and apply for early admission into kindergarten. Your son, we got to find out where you at again? What city?
I'm in Greensboro.
You're in Carolina. So we got to see if Greensboro Public Schools, you can research that. See if Greensboro Public Schools has early admission. Because if his IQ is above, if he's up around 120, I'll even go 115. If your son IQ is above 115, I think you got an argument that he needs early admission. Really 120. They're going to really want 120 because that's superior. 130 is very superior. That's what we look at. That's what we look at for national giftedness, 130. But if he's 120, that's good enough for me. Go ahead and get him a cognitive assessment. Get him a psychoeducational eval, because that might very well be it. Maybe the work is too easy for your son. It could be it. It could be it. Or it could be a discipline issue.
They can figure all of that information out at age 4?
Sure. I give IQ tests at age 4. It's not the ideal age, but given the situation you're in, we need to find out if your son is advanced or not.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you this. It don't matter how advanced he is if that preschool isn't going to give him any differential instruction. Let's say you come back and tell them my son gifted. He got a 125 IQ. Are they going to do anything different? Because they're not required to.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? If this is an issue of Latino racism, your son can have a 150 IQ. Nothing's going to change.
Okay. Do you have any tips that could help with, with his behavior whenever we're out? Like, he should know when we're not inside the classroom, just because your family isn't there, you still need to listen to your
That's why you got it. That's why you got to have a behavior plan at home, and the teacher needs to communicate with you every day to let you know how well your son did. And if he didn't do well, you need to give him a mark, and there needs to be a consequence for it.
Okay, the chart. Okay, I remember. Thank you so much.
Yeah, homeschool collaboration.
Okay.
But keep your eye on that criminalization, because I got a feeling that this might be a case of racist Latino criminalization of your son.
Okay.
And consider getting that cognitive assessment too.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time and taking my call.
No problem, Queen.
I really appreciate it. You have a good day.
Be blessed. All right now.
Bye.
Okay. I got to... Why did you leave Islam? I don't want to debate or bother. I just want to know your views. My dear brother, you can be a Muslim all you want. You could be a Hebrew. You could be a Christian. You can be a Seventh-day Adventist. You could be an AME. You could be an AMEZ. You could be an Anglican, a Methodist. You can be an Episcopalian. You can be a Jehovah's Witness. You could believe in the aliens. You could be whatever you want, my brother. But I'm not interested in having no conversation about religion. I'm only interested in having a conversation about liberation. Now, if you want to have a conversation about liberation, we can have a conversation about liberation. But I'm not going to have a conversation with you about religion, because I could care less who you pray to or what you believe in. The only thing I care about is what do you think about black people. The only thing I care about, what are your commitments to our liberation, our freedom, justice, and equality. Religion is irrelevant. I don't want to talk about it. That is your relationship between your God or your anti-God. I just want to know, what is your thought? What is your focus when it comes to the commitment towards black people for freedom, justice, and liberation? I don't give a damn what you believe in. I wish you religious zealots will stop trying to engage me in a religious conversation. I do not give a damn about your religion. I care about black people. And 9 times out of 10, your religion only care about black people if they care about your religion. I'm going to say that again. Most of you selfish ass black religions out there, black power religions included, y'all don't care about black people. Y'all only care about black people who believe in your God. If they don't believe in your God, you don't care about them. Religions are some of the most selfish institutions in the black community. They collect money from all black people, but they only use it on black people who pray the way that they do. Get the hell out of my face with religion. Let's go to the next question. I'm rocking my African kente cloth.
Hello?
Sister Rakia, did we talk already today?
No.
Okay, how you doing, sister? How the Bronx treat you? Boogie down Bronx.
Not good. Wait, let me go. I thought you were in my ear.
Make sure you give a shout out to the father of hip hop for me, my good friend, DJ 𝚂𝚗𝙱𝚂𝚗. Give a shout out to DJ 𝚂𝚗𝚗𝚗 if you ever run into him. That's my good brother, the father of hip hop. But go right ahead with your question, Queen.
I don't know why my phone is echoing. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, beautiful.
Okay. I just wanted to know, I have a special needs child.
And he's 12. He's in the 7th grade now, but I had sued the DOE because he was in the District 75 class. You know, they don't teach the kids, so the kids be just in their own corners doing whatever. I got an attorney, I sued or whatever, and they put him in, I got a proof of private school. The pandemic hit, he's had sensory issues, so I have pulled him out to legally homeschool him because he wouldn't wear masks and he mouth everything. I've been trying since June to get this boy back in school. I have not been able.
Okay. What grade is your son in?
7th.
He's been out of school since what grade?
Since 4th for the pandemic.
So your son ain't been back to school since in 3 years.
Yeah.
But he has an IEP.
Yeah.
Whose decision was it? Whose decision was it to keep him out of school for 3 years with an IEP?
It was mine.
Why did you keep your son out of school for 3 years with an IEP?
Because he was going to a school in another borough. He had to ride the bus. I didn't feel, because when the pandemic hit, COVID.
Okay, but COVID was 1 year, 1.5, 2 maximum, but he's been out since COVID.
COVID just recently went away when they got the vaccines.
Yeah, but your son been out of school for 3 years, Queen. Nobody's been out of school for 3 years. So you haven't, the IEP team hasn't reached out to you? You haven't heard from Truancy?
I reached out to them. I keep emailing people. I keep calling people. They're not getting in contact with me.
You ain't heard from nobody?
Nobody.
So this is what you're going to do. You're going to write a letter to the superintendent of New York City Public Schools.
Let me get a pen. Okay.
You ready? Where you at, Queen? You took a weed break on me? Did you take a weed break on King Kong? Did you take a weed break on King Kong? Good sister, you still there? Oh, she hung up, y'all. I don't know. She hung up. We only going to 2 o'clock, yo. I gotta get up out of here. Deion Sanders, Kyrie Irving, Shannon Sharp. I commend you for your efforts. Thank you. Okay, we got 15 minutes. Who else we got? If you got a question, who this? 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858. Ladies, keep it clean. Ladies, keep it clean. Ladies, keep it clean.
Hello?
Brother Anthony, what's going on in Queens, New York, good brother?
Hey, what's going on, King? This is Anthony. Nice to hear your voice, my brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go right ahead with your question.
All right, so I got two questions for you, bro. My son, he's my son is 10, my daughter is 7. Now, when it comes to my son, when it comes to math, he got a big problem with math, and it's more so the comprehension on certain questions they ask him. But I can sit there and break down the whole lesson for him, and he will understand it, but he will forget the whole lesson a couple of days into school, and then when it comes to a test, he doesn't retain the information, and he also kind of like, I spoke to him about, like, is he understanding the question? And when we go over the lesson plan, he understands it when I break it down to him, but when it comes to the test, it's like the way they word the test questions, he doesn't understand it, and that to know how to answer the question.
All right, let me give you this wisdom before you go forward. What grade is your son in?
My son is in 7th grade right now.
Okay, so let me give you this. In the world of learning disabilities, there is a reading comprehension disability, and there is a math calculations disability. You follow me?
Yes.
Excuse me, math reasoning. Reading comprehension, math reasoning. I hardly ever classify a child with a math reasoning disability. You know why? Because if you can't comprehend what you read, you're not going to be able to comprehend math problems either. In other words, your son's issue ain't a math issue. It's a reading comprehension issue. And it's probably related to a poor working vocabulary level. Our children, on average, are 2 grades beneath their class level when it comes to their working vocab. So your son is the 7th, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So he may have a working vocabulary level of a 6th grader or a 5th grader or a 4th grader. So when he take them standardized tests and he's reading the word problems, the math word problems in the standardized tests, he might know how to do the math operation correctly. But he don't understand the question because his working vocabulary is not up to grade level, which means he needs to practice word problems more. I would go online and I would order a couple math word problem books. I would probably start with 5th grade. I would get a 5th, 6th, and a 7th. And I would have him start on the 5th to try to figure out where he is with his vocabulary level. And then I would start working him up to the 7th grade math problems workbook. And I would make him read more. He needs to read more, and he needs to practice his math word problems more. You can get those math problem solving books. You can get them right online, like $5-10 a pop. He need practice, my brother. I would not look to special ed. He need practice, and it wouldn't even hurt to get him a tutor either. You know, high school student, retired teacher, somebody to work with him. He only need 2-3 days a week for an hour a week. That's all he needs. Excuse me, 2-3 days a week for an hour a session. That's all he needs.
I agree with you 110%, Doctor. But the school he's in, the work criteria is they give a lot of schoolwork for them, and I feel like what you're saying definitely could work. But how can I balance bringing that, just trying to work on his word vocabulary on top of what we have to do on a daily basis?
Use the weekends. I mean, if he's behind, we got to get him up. The only way we're going to catch up is to go twice as hard. So, I mean, if they're giving him too much busy work, then you might need to have a conversation with him with that, because I do think schools can sometimes give a child too much busy work. In my opinion, they don't give them enough homework, you know, but sometimes they can't give them too much busy work. So if that's what we need to work on, then you can go ahead and have a conversation with that. But he got to catch up. And the only way he's going to catch up is with more practice. You know what I mean? It's I mean, there's enough time in the day. You know, we just got to organize it right. We got to cut out some of them activities he's doing that ain't got nothing to do with academics.
I got you. I've been pretty much trying to limit to how much he's on his iPad, going on YouTube and all that, and focus more throughout the week on his schoolwork. But, you know, on top of a father's and my wife's work schedule is not as easy. But it's definitely something we've been doing, and we just got to implement what you just said in regards to starting from the 5th grade moving forward.
Yeah.
So I got you. The second part of my question. Recently, because my daughter, she's 7, like I said earlier, and she was diagnosed with bilateral ear loss for both of her ears. And the thing is, she's been kind of suffering also with comprehending her schoolwork. But again, me and my wife at home with her, we work with her, and we see like she's confident in the house. When she go to school, she sometimes can't hear the teachers. And I'm not in school.
Does she have a 504 or an IEP?
So we just recently on the 2nd did a evaluation for her, confidential psycho evaluation.
Right,
and,
but
and the thing is, the way, because when I'm going through the packet, both my wife and I, when we go through the packet, it sounds like they put a whole bunch of work in like a short time period to evaluate her. And I think they said about 30 minutes the whole evaluation was. But then if I go through the packet, as I go through it, I see that there's issues with like her memory, I forgot how they worded it, but her memory recollection or something. And they will say that she's doing good or borderline at something, but then that whole section she will be graded below average. So me and my wife plan on going to school on Monday to go figure that out because they just had a spring break. So we going to figure out.
Let me throw this at you, good brother. Let me throw this at you. I think your daughter needs a 504 plan and not an IEP. 504. She got a bilateral hair loss. Was she learning just fine in the regular class?
Oh, she's still in regular class, but she's
right. But if she got an IEP, that means they're going to be pulling her out for some special ed help.
Yeah, and that's why I'm
but what I'm saying is, do you think she needs to be pulled out of the class?
No, absolutely not.
Then it was no need for her to get tested for an IEP then. It sounds like your daughter needs a 504 plan. In other words, all she needs are accommodations to be successful in the regular classroom. And a 504 plan will give her that. She already has bilateral hair loss, so she could have got a one-to-one aid, a behavior plan. Maybe there's a listening device that she needs. Maybe she needs to sit at the front of the class. Maybe she needs extra time to take her test. Maybe she needs to take her tests in a different class. Your daughter only needed accommodations. I don't think she needed instructional modification. Unless you feel the work was too hard for her, it's no need for no IEP. She should have just got a 504 plan. And what y'all might want to do when y'all go to this meeting, y'all might want to ask them, why didn't y'all consider a 504 plan for my daughter instead of an IEP? And I can tell you the answer. The answer is they want that special ed money that comes with an IEP. You don't get money for 504. So they tend to push black kids into special ed instead of giving them the 504. Your daughter needs a 504. She don't need no IEP. If you're telling me she can learn in that regular class and she do not need to be pulled out at all, she need a 504. IEP is when you got to change the instruction. You got to change the learning goals. If your daughter can learn as well as the other kids in that class, she does not need an IEP. She needs a 504 plan. And y'all need to ask them, why didn't y'all recommend a 504 plan before we went to IEP? And y'all also might want to send me a copy of that evaluation when it's done so I can look it over and determine whether or not that was a quality eval.
Okay.
So I think your daughter needs a 504. I don't think she needs an IEP. Now, you just signed permission for the psychological eval?
Yes.
Okay, so they not done it yet. They just started. Is that correct?
This was the first section, yes.
Okay, so if it were me, I'm going to tell you what I would do. If it were me, I would write a letter to the principal telling them this is an official notice that I'm rescinding my request for the psychoeducational evaluation. We do not consent for the eval. We want all testing stopped. We do not feel that our daughter needs special ed. What she instead needs is a 504 plan for her bilateral hearing loss. Please let me know when we could come in and develop the 504 plan for my child. If I were you, that's what I would be doing.
Okay. I got half of that, brother. I'm writing it down. What you need to repeat it one more time. That this is an official notice that I was sent. That's what I got so far.
Yes, you're rescinding the eval. Please discontinue all testing.
Okay.
We are no longer interested in having our daughter considered for special ed. And instead, We would like a 504 plan developed for our daughter. Please let me know when we can come in and sit down and develop the 504 plan.
Gotcha. I got you. Okay. I definitely appreciate that. It's because when it comes to the reading comprehension with my daughter, she definitely, I can say she can read, but is retaining information. And just recently, for the last week, me and my wife been working on with her, and she was actually able to tell me an in-depth story on a book she read. But my thing is this: I'm not concerned that me and my wife have is the fact that she has the bilateral hearing loss, and we got at the end of the month we're basically gonna get her hearing aid. But I want to know, like, this is what we plan on actually evaluating, if they are considering the fact that hearing loss can alter her way of, understanding or hearing well enough to be able to write certain things down, that has any, like, impact on her understanding and comprehending whatever the teacher is saying.
Yeah, that's all accommodations. You also want to make sure the hearing aid, does she have the best quality hearing aid she can have? That's the other thing that you want to look into. But to me, your daughter's situation is a 504 case. This should not be no special ed. This should not be no testing.
Okay. Okay, gotcha. Listen, Brother Umar, I really appreciate it. I've been a huge fan for a long time. Definitely appreciate what you're doing for the people. And what you just did for me, my family. I really do appreciate it, brother.
No problem, brother. Keep me posted. I'm right here.
Will do.
All right, bro.
Hello?
Sister Jenny, how's Boston treating you?
Pretty good.
You know, I'm gonna be speaking in Boston next Monday, March 20.
Yeah, I was on the live video. I was trying to ask you, like,
I'm waiting to find out where. So I should know in a couple days, but go right ahead with your question, beautiful.
So my question that I had was, I have a 2-year-old son. He's not into school yet or anything. My son's 2 years old, and I don't even really know if you can help me with my question, but I said it's worth a try to ask. My son's 2 years old, and I am not a person who feels comfortable with them vaccines, that they feel like the babies need to take, like, those first vaccines that they need. Now, I did get my son the first one that he needed. I got him that one. And that's the reason why I feel like I don't want to do that anymore, because I didn't like the responses that I've seen in my baby, and I didn't like at the spot where they gave my son a shot at, his body, like his leg was like hard for like over a month in that same spot, like really hard. Like, it was just really weird to me. And as a baby, I could see like the different change in him that I seen that was different from him. Like the way he acted, the way he responded, like, to me and to people and things of that nature. So
I don't support the vaccinations, Queen. I don't like them either.
Yeah. No.
And we know the MMR, measles, mumps, rubella, that's what causes the autism in black boys.
Right.
So I wouldn't do it. They can't make you. You just got to stick to your guns, but they can't make you.
So that's the thing that I've been going through with his doctor. His doctor, like, she's really good with it. She asks me, so how we feeling, Mom, about, still feeling the same way about the vaccines? And I'm like, yes, I feel like my son doesn't need it. My son's very smart. He's 2 years old. He can say big words like 𝚂𝚗𝙺𝚁𝙸𝙱𝚴. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I feel like, without those shots, I feel like he's doing really, really good. And I feel like a lot of that comes from like other children that I know that's been born around the same time as my son. I see that they struggle with certain things, and I feel like it comes from because they got their kids those shots.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The one thing you got to look up, though, because you're in the state of Massachusetts. Massachusetts isn't one of the states that allow for philosophical exemption. Philosophical exemption is where you could just write a letter saying, I don't agree with vaccinations. You don't need a religious excuse or a medical excuse.
Right.
Massachusetts is not one of those states. Maine is one of those states, but not Massachusetts. So what you got to do is go on the State Department of Education website and see what the religious exemption might require. Because in some states like New Jersey, you can just declare religious exemption and they have no right to force you to prove that you belong to a religion that doesn't allow vaccinations. So you want to see if you need to see if Massachusetts also has a no contest religious exemption. Because if Massachusetts has a no contest religious exemption, and they may not necessarily use the words no contest, that's what I call it, but see if they have that. Read the religious exemption thoroughly, because if it says that, you know, nobody can challenge you on your request for religious exemption, then you can just go that way. Otherwise, you would have to find a doctor to give you a medical exemption.
Okay, because that's what I'm looking for to get into, because I know my son's going to have to start school soon. He's my only child. So I know that he's going to have to be starting school soon, and I know that that's what they're going to be trying to press to me, that, oh, he needs to be vaccinated to go to school, and I know that that's not 100% true. So I don't know everything. But I do know, like, some things, and I try to research as much as I possibly could to gain the knowledge, because I want different for my son. I want my son to be able to go to school with a free mind, not have to be, you know, have his brain to be tampered with, or have labels to be placed on him that I know for a fact is not true. My son is extremely smart, and I don't want that for him. You know what I mean?
Neither do I. So I need you to do some research on that.
Okay. That was really my question. I really didn't even know if you could answer it for me or not. But, like, you know, I'm newly found to who you are and, like, what you're about and things of that nature. Probably, like, I think I found out about you maybe this year or the end of last year. And I think that the things that you're doing is amazing. It's awesome. And I respect you and I applaud you for, you know, giving knowledge to our people, because a lot of people are very ignorant to what's going on. And, you know, a lot of our kids are going down the drain because their parents they're afraid to learn the knowledge, because they're afraid to have to stand up and be like, oh, I'm afraid to stand up and do this alone. Or, you know what I'm saying? And not feel like they have the support, because a lot of the times we don't have the support, and we really don't have the support from each other, you know? So
I feel you. Queen. Well, keep me posted. Text me back around Wednesday to see if I have a location, too, for where I'm going to be at.
Okay, will do.
Okay,
so
got it.
Thank you so much.
No problem, sweetie. Be blessed. All right. Last call of the day is going to Candace. Last call of the day is going to Candace. Last call of the day is going to Candace. Where the Germaniac Nation at? Where the 𝚂𝚗𝙱𝚁𝙸𝙱𝚴 Queendom at?
Hello?
Sister Candace, how New Jersey treating you, beautiful?
Oh, good. Can't complain.
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead with your question. I hear that accent. Is that an Ethiopian accent or Eritrean accent or Somali accent?
No. I'm Guyanese.
Guyanese. I was wrong. Guyanese. Walter Rodney. Dr. Ivan Van Sertima.
Yep.
Yes, indeed. Go right ahead with your question, beautiful.
Okay, so I have a question. My question is, my 3-year-old, well, he's going to be 4 in August. And at this point, the school said that he needs to be evaluated for autism.
And he's how old?
He's 3.
No way. But continue. Too young. Go ahead, mama.
Okay, so I've really never had no signs of autism in him. He doesn't do the stemming. He doesn't do none of that. But what happened was he never went to any kind of daycare or anything. He just started school last September. Mm-hmm. So when he went there, like, he didn't know, because the family in the house is all you really communicated with since COVID came and all that. So when he went to school, it was like he was trying to run out of the classroom, and like he wouldn't play with the other kids and stuff like that. But at this point now, he doesn't do that anymore. And before too, like when I would take him to the mall and stuff, he would run away. I would have to run behind him all the time. But now he doesn't do that anymore. So I just wanted to know if I should stop that process or...
I would not let him get evaluated for autism at 3 years old. No way.
Okay.
I would stop. Parent knows best. If you don't see no evidence of it, then he ain't got it. You don't let them do it. No, do not let them. You cannot prove autism at 3. Autism has to be confirmed with the naked eye, observation. No way. If you don't see it, he ain't got it. No way would I let them do that. Okay. They're just trying to use your son for money.
Some difficulty with his speech. Like he talks, but some words.
Then he might need speech therapy. He can get. I'll let him do the speech. I'll let him do the evaluation for speech. I ain't got no problem with that. If they want to do the evaluation for speech, you tell them y'all can evaluate for speech because he can use speech therapy, but nothing else. And I would write speech and language only on the evaluation form. When they give you the permission form, Queen, above your name, write in capital letters, speech only.
Okay.
That's how you make sure you protect him. Speech only. Okay. That's it. Nothing else.
I don't see my boy having no other issues. Like,
they trying to hustle. That's the new hustle. Autism is the new hustle. They trying to do anything they can to get more money off the backs of our children. They trying to do anything they can to get more money off the backs of our children. We got to be ready for war. We must be ready for war.
Like, every time I was taking this to school, the teachers would be like, Miss Candace, did you follow up? Did you follow? Like, they keep pushing me like, okay, what do you want me to do?
So you know what you do? Write a letter. Write a letter. I've made my decision. I am not consenting to autism. I only want my son evaluated for speech and language. And I would appreciate it if your teacher stopped harassing me.
Yeah, because every time I go there, did you follow up? Did you call them?
You don't have to do that. Nah. Tell them I'm the parent. I make the decisions. I'm the parent. I make the decisions.
The classroom teachers, he has no problems in the classroom. He reads better than all the kids in the classroom. I just had a parent-teacher conference with them, and they said he's the youngest in the class, and he reads a whole sentence better than everybody else in the class. My son has no issues even at home. He's playing with something, you take it from him. He doesn't scream and all these things.
Right.
So I really don't understand.
They just want to hustle for money, Queen. Hustle for money. Black children are the new hustle. That's all this is.
My husband not having it either because he's like, ain't nobody going to label my child at 3 years old. Even if there's something, let him grow. Let him take his time and grow. And his father's not having it either.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Don't go for it, Queen. Write a letter. Tell them speech only.
Speech only. I can also do my speech myself because I'm a nurse, so I have good insurance, so I can do speech on my own if that's the case.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Queen. You could work with him too, but it wouldn't hurt to get him the outside help too.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
No problem, sweetie. And make sure y'all speak both languages with him at home. You can speak
We do.
Okay.
We do. He be correcting us sometimes too.
Powerful.
So yeah. Thank you so much.
No problem, sweetie. Appreciate you.
You have a good day.
You too now. I got some nice sage I'm going to burn. Some nice sage. You were disrespectful. Let me call. Rakia said, I didn't hang up. You were disrespectful. I don't smoke weed. Let me call Rakia from the Bronx back. Y'all pissed Sister Rakia off, y'all. Y'all pissed Sister Rakia off. Let's talk to Sister.
Please leave your message for 516.
Sister Rakia, I'm calling you back. Pick up. I know you don't smoke weed, baby. Come on.
Please leave your message for 516.
Sister Rakia is pissed off at the prince.